Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ film festival. This is our 35th annual festival, and it's been amazing. We've had great crowds, great films, great filmmakers. The response has been amazing. So thank you all for making that happen. Our streaming is still going on through October 9th, and the shorts program around the world, which we screened on September 27th, was very, very popular. And it's also been popular online as well. And as an extra bonus, we have two of the filmmakers today to talk about their films. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into some questions. So we'll start with Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Gamarano Singleton, and I am the director of the short film Swim.
Great.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm Lucas Drummond, and I'm the star producer and writer for all the awards I never gave you.
Good. Thank you both for joining us. I mean, our audiences have been very, very, receptive to all the programming, but your films, were very, very, very well liked. So thank you so much. So I guess, Michael, let's start with, basic, how did you decide to make your film, and was there any particular inspiration?
Yeah, so I'm a filmmaker that likes to make films that revolve around social issues.
Mm-hmm.
So my first film was about homelessness. My previous film, Denzel, was about disability.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finished that, I met with a friend of mine who's a screenwriter called Ronan
Yeah.
Cave, and we were just walking along London South Bank, and I was saying I'm looking for my next project. It has to fall in line with the remit of what I want to do, and he was telling me about an experience that he had when he became friends with a swimming pool with a guy, and the guy didn't realize he was gay at the time. And when they met out for the pub later, Ronan painted his nails, and they're all beautifully brightly coloured. And suddenly the guy decided he didn't want to be friends with him anymore, even though they got to know each other so well over the swimming pool. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, "This is a movie. Like we have to write this." And the swimming pool is the perfect scenario because it's everyone is just in the same uniform, and you don't really see what people like to dress like outside, and you just base each other's personalities, and that's it. So we sat together. He wrote it. I helped him along with some of like the structural ideas, and that's how Swim was born.
Great. Thank you. Lucas.
So I wrote the script in 2020 at the beginning of the year, and I wanted really bad to talk about open relationship because I felt this was something that was really a thing back then and even now. And I thought that I could put some of my own stories in the script. So this film could also be called All My Ex-Boyfriends in a 17-minute film because there's a lot of me inside of the film.
Yeah.
Um, and we had this challenge because we were already the pandemic was starting and we didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to write the script of this relationship discussion in only one location so
Mm-hmm.
that we were able to shoot it even with the pandemic. So we had this challenge to write the script that could be somehow doable in during the pandemic with the conditions we had. So this was how basically how the film was born.
I know you just mentioned COVID, but can you both of you talk a little bit about how COVID affected you as filmmakers and getting your work out into the world?
Yeah, especially my previous film before Swim. Um, when we went to shoot it in England, where I'm based in London, we went into second lockdown. So like the whole country shut down, and it was literally right in the bang middle of our shoot days. And it was like, do we cancel? What do we do? How do we go about it? But there was like a small, I don't know if you call it loophole, but they said you're allowed to work if you can't do it from home. And we was like, well, technically we can't make this film from home. So we somehow managed to get around it. It was the time before all the available testing was there, so we had to
Mhm.
like pay like £200, which is like nearly $200 or so per test. So we had to put a lot of money. Half the budget went into COVID testing, which took away. So we ended up having to shoot the previous film in just one day rather than two
Okay.
days because of the budget. But you make it work, and you have a COVID officer and stuff.
Yeah.
Swim, thankfully, was just coming at the end of it, and just as we was going to film, all the COVID restrictions got released. So it was one of those things where it was like one was unlucky, and thankfully Swim was just at the right time where we didn't have to worry about like testing and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But I've definitely been through it in my previous films.
Okay.
Yeah, with us basically the same. Like all of like basically our budget got cut like half because of testing. But we knew it was something that was very important, especially for everybody to feel safe on set.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel this is the most important thing, that everybody works in a safe atmosphere and not worried about COVID. So I'm Brazilian. I'm based in Rio, and the whole situation in my country during the pandemic was extremely hard because of the guy who's in charge right now of the government. And right now we're going through this very special and very important moment because we had elections last Sunday, and we are going on a second round of elections with two candidates
Mm-hmm.
running right now for elections, and this could decide the entire future of our country during the next 4 years.
Wow.
So it was really challenging doing this film during the pandemic with the conditions we had.
Mm-hmm.
With the pandemic, we had a new lockdown 4 days before we started shooting,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to go. We had to ask for permission to actually be able to shoot, and we got permission for it because we had the money from the government to do the film. But it was really, really hard because everybody was crazy about the pandemic. We were worried. We didn't want anyone to get sick. But somehow I think filmmaking just finds its way, and it was a great experience. I'm really glad we managed to do this film and that it's out there in the world right now.
That's great. Sort of another COVID question, but now that we're in a position where film festivals are happening again and they're live, what's it been like being able to get your film out there in the world, being seen and have in-person? Have either of you been able to see your films with an audience?
Yeah, so
What's that experience like?
I got to see Swim last week actually for the
Oh,
first
wow.
time in the audience. There's a film festival in Canada called the Edmonton Film Festival, and
Mm-hmm.
my previous film, as mentioned, Denzel won Grand Jury Prize there last year, and I wasn't able to go out and meet the team, and then they accepted Swim as well, so I thought, oh, I have to go out. So I went to Edmonton and spent a week, and it's the first time seeing your film, and it never gets old to see an audience. They laugh at the things that you don't even think are funny, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's quite interesting, and you get moved by certain things. Then you do the Q&A afterwards, and people come up to you, and all the hard work and all the stress and the money and all the stuff that goes into filmmaking, because you realize in those moments, this is worth it. This is why I do it, because you get to share your art with audiences, and people come up to you and congratulate you and say how they found this moving and this inspired them and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a goodly time question, because it was literally like this time last week I was
Mm-hmm.
watching it on the big screen.
That's great.
Yeah, pretty much the same with me. It's so when the pandemic started, we had our previous film after that party, which screened at Out on Film in 2019, running festivals back then. And it was so frustrating because all of a sudden all the festivals started going online, and we didn't have the opportunity to attend any of them in presence anymore. So right now it's I'm really glad we have this opportunity. We have the opportunity to do this again, and feel the audience, their reaction. And I feel like, I had the opportunity to travel to Toronto for the Inside Out Film Festival in
Mm-hmm.
May. And I feel like the atmosphere at queer film festivals, it's so special. It's
Yeah.
really special because people really support each other. And I think this is really important in our profession. We as artists, we really need to support each other because we know that the conditions we have to get our work done sometimes can be really, really hard. So being able to meet with people and see their work and share our art with them is really important. And I think having the opportunity to do this again after these 2 years, it's really, oh my God, it's really, really even can be really, really good.
Can both of you talk about representation and why it's important to have queer directors telling queer stories and you know, and to get these films out into the world seen?
Yeah, it's so important. Representation is everything, really. Even little things like, or big things, you say, like The Little Mermaid, for example, when that came out and it was like a black Ariel, and everyone started blowing up a whole fuss, and then you see the young black kids seeing themselves represented on screen. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same in any genre, any marginalized people. It's important that people see themselves on screen, see directors and writers and producers producing work that represents them, because then it inspires people. That's the whole point of representation. Is not just to show, hey, look, these are people who are slightly different to us. It's so people can watch that and be like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So for me, it's so important.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like culture and art and film and theater, this is what art and culture is there are there for people to see each other on screen and somehow see their stories been told and see that there's hope for them as well. Because if they see characters that are like them on screen, they will see, hey, there's someone else going through what I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel this is really, really important. And especially in our project, in our film, we chose to tell this story from the point of view of an interracial couple. It wasn't there at this, like when we wrote the story, this wasn't a thing. We decided to do it afterwards. And it was really important to have um, a very colored team with us because I I am a white guy, so I'm a white filmmaker. So when I wrote the script, I needed to have these artists with me telling me what they wanted to be told, what they wanted to be told, and what they wanted to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like we managed to create this very incredible and supportive atmosphere and team in which everybody could see themselves on screen. And especially the other actor, the other actor who's starring the film with me, Mateus, he was there and he was telling me some things like, I went through this on a previous relationship, and it's so good that you guys include this um, in the screenplay because
Mm-hmm.
it's important for me to see it and see it from a very positive perspective, you know.
Okay, great. So I have a question for you. I mean, we show a lot of films here, and we show a lot of short films because I love short films, and it's always, you know, a big anchor of our film festival. But I guess my question is, you know, where do great short films go? I mean, is there a home for people who may like, you know, both of your films and want to see them again? Where do people go and watch great LGBTQ shorts? Is there a place right now? I mean, and is there a development so that there will be a home for great short films eventually?
Yeah, it's still a growing market. Someone once said short films are only really watched by other filmmakers, which I don't think is entirely true, but
Sure.
I think it needs to get out into the market onto Netflix, Amazon. It'd be great to see more short films on there. But there's a few platforms that I have some of my short films on. One of them is called, well, it's a YouTube channel called Omeletto,
Okay.
um, and my last film got like 30,000 views in
Wow.
a week. So it has like a really, you have to submit it to them, and it's a very dedicated YouTube channel. Yeah, Omeletto is called, and they release a new short film that they choose, handpick each week. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a few other platforms that dedicate short films. One's called Clipist, which a few of my films is on, and another one, Shorts.tv. And I think they are the ones who also put short films onto airplanes as well, which are two great platforms that I'm working with currently.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, in Brazil we do also have some of the streaming platforms are starting to buy short films right now.
Mm-hmm.
After That Party is also available in two of them here in Brazil. We also work together with this YouTube channel called Kinobox. They have this channel specifically for queer content, and there are some discussions right now, members, because like previously, I think 20 years ago, we had this law, this federal law um, for shorts, and basically every feature on like that was on theater had to do an exhibition of a short like before its exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
We are fighting for this law to come back because it's really I think it's really nice for people to actually see a short film in the theater, because this is a thing that only happens in film festivals.
Yeah.
So we are actually fighting for this law to come back, but I feel like people are starting somehow to look for shorts again.
Yeah.
So I have people writing me on Instagram, social media, saying, "Hey, I wanted to see what your work. I wanted to see more shorts.
Yeah.
Can you tell me where I could do this?" So I feel like there is somehow this energy coming back for people searching for shorts, which is incredible, which is
Wonderful.
amazing in my
That's
point of view.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. All right, the program is Around the World, which is part of Out on Film's 35th anniversary programming. There was an in-person screening on September the 27th, and both of these films are available as part of the program through October 9th. So if you haven't seen them, watch them. You can also vote for these films. We have audience awards as well, which are very valuable to filmmakers. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lucas, for sharing your films with us. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. And we look forward to obviously working with you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for having us. Thank you for your work. And I really hope we can be back at Out on Film in person somehow in the near future.
That would be amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.